So I'm actually here to speak about something that is deeply personal, something that has become a part of my daily life, which is being the curator of memories for my mother, who is living with dementia. Slide, please. That's right. That's my family back in the past. This is a journey of love, loss, and rediscovery. So when we talk about dementia, we often speak about loss. And it's true, dementia takes away so much. It steals faces, names, and even the ability to do the simplest tasks. Dementia, as we all know, is not a single condition, but a broad term that encompasses a variety of disorders, each with its own way of affecting the brain. Frontotemporal dementia, which is what my mother was diagnosed with back in 2017, is one of the lesser-known forms of dementia. Unlike Alzheimer's disease, which usually starts with disorientation and loss of memory, frontotemporal typically begins with the significant changes in behavior, personality, and language, often before memory loss becomes apparent. So watching my mother grapple with this condition has been heartbreaking, but at the same time, also enlightening. I'm trying my best not to cry, I'm sorry, we just started, I'm crying. I've tasked my creative director to scream every time I cry. So the audience, you can also scream every time I cry, okay? Let's go. Thank you. All right, so she's always been the heart of the family, the one with the sharp wit and just deep well of stories. And I realized that as she goes through dementia, the relationship with her changes in ways that I never expected. However, there is one thread of connection that still remains, and that's her memories. So I've come to learn that there's another side to this condition. One that is quieter, more subtle, but no less profound. And that side, I believe, is where my role as the curator of her memories come in. Memories, of course, are stories of who we are, shared histories that we carry forward, but for someone with dementia, those threads can begin to unravel, and the stories get jumbled, the faces blur, and the past starts to fade. So as her cognition shifts, my father, brother, and myself, who are her primary caregivers, we found ourselves in the role of being the curator, so carefully sifting through her past and preserving her memories and sharing them with her again. Next. So every conversation, every photo, every object that I bring to her is an attempt to reach back into a part of her that still exists, even when so much of her understanding becomes fragmented. And there are, of course, moments where she seems lost, she's unsure of who's in the room, she's unsure of where she is. But there are also moments, often sparked by something familiar, where I see her eyes light up with recognition, and suddenly I briefly see the person that she was behind the fog of dementia. And these are the moments I treasure the most. So we'll sit together, and I'll start telling her stories from her childhood, stories that I've heard hundreds of times, but I tell her again because I want to anchor her in the familiar. I talk about her parents, her siblings, times even before I was born, and I'll watch her face sort of transform as these fragments of the past break through. Sometimes she doesn't remember the story or doesn't remember the specific detail, but that's all right, because I think what matters is the emotional truth that these stories still resonate with her. And here is Mamre in the present. She actually just turned 68 yesterday on the 29th of November. So everybody say, happy birthday, Mamre! Thank you. By the way, just some context, Mamre is what my brother and I call her. It's like sort of a nickname. And fun fact, we actually share the same birthday. So everybody say, happy birthday, Munah! Thank you. Y'all didn't have to. We're twins, Mamre would tell me when I was a kid. Were you ever upset about having to stay in the hospital on your birthday? I would ask as a kid. And she would say, no, you are the best birthday gift ever. So I asked again, am I still the best birthday gift ever? She just laughs, but I will take that as a yes. So years before dementia, my mother, she was a force to be reckoned with. She was loud, funny, talkative, sassy with a quick wit, and she was just musically talented beyond words and just such a kind person. She led a really beautiful life, and she would tell us all the time, repeatedly, because they were just so meaningful and they were just so her. And we retell these stories to her. And until just a few years ago, she could recall them with us, but now not so much because her recall isn't as strong. Now, with dementia, I think it's important to understand that it's a tricky condition. It doesn't just affect the memory, it also changes the way someone thinks, processes emotions, or experiences the world. And as I recount these memories with her, I see moments where she smiles or cries or laughs. For example, if I talk about the time when she was on honeymoon with my father, to London, Tokyo, wherever he brought her, she doesn't remember specific details, but she remembers the love, she remembers the adventure, and that is the most important part that I try to bring to her. Next. There you go, those are my parents. Wow, beautiful, she would tell me. And I'm like, yes, that's you, Wow, that's me? Gorgeous. That's where I get my confidence from. So she sees these photos and she relives these memories and she tells the story again. Her words may be scrambled, but she's sharing them all over again, just like old times. So what I do is I really don't focus on the details. I focus on the feeling that each memory evokes. And I remind her how much she means to people around her, how loved she is, how valued she is, even when her own mind struggles to remember. And what I've learned through this process is that dementia really doesn't take away the person. It changes the way we interact with them. It changes the way we approach love, connection, and memory. In the early stages, I have to admit, I found myself focusing on the loss and what was slipping away. I mourned the idea of her being gone, even though she was still physically present. When we first received the diagnosis, it was a huge shock to my family, and we had to quickly adjust to this new reality. The changes were very overwhelming, and the difficult ones in particular were quite traumatic. And my brother and I had to mature quicker than we expected because we were at that stage where we were focused on building our own lives, but suddenly we found ourselves having to step up and support and care for our parents. And sometimes we get so caught up in major life events that we forget to recognize that time still moves forward. And when you're anxious, your brain shifts into fight or flight mode, which makes it hard to process what's happening and to create new memories. But as time passed, I see that she's still here in very important ways. We had to remind ourselves that despite everything, she's right there with us, and she has new needs that we now need to address and support. The woman who was once sharp, full of stories, laughter, may not be the same, but she's still my mother, and I can still share moments of joy with her. Yeah, thank you! You got the brief! Thank you! See, it works. The process of curating my mother's memories isn't always easy. It's emotional and it can be exhausting. There are days where I'm really not sure if she recognizes who I am or knows who I am, and those are the hardest moments. But it's also a powerful reminder that the essence of who we are is not just in what we remember, but in the connections, in the love that we experience, and in the familiarity of our presence. Just a month ago, we were having lunch, and she suddenly stopped, turned to me and said, "Hey, who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, how could you?" And she laughed. I said, "It's me, Mom Ray, it's Moon, your twin." And she laughed along, but she started to cry. And she started to ask me, "Oh, Moon, where have you been, Moon? I miss you." And I said, "Don't cry, Mom Ray, I'm always here, I'm always stalking you. See, we just had lunch." And she continues to laugh, but cries at the same time. Now, it's in these moments that I remind myself that I'm not just holding on to the past. I'm always reminding her of what happened before, what happened in her younger days, but it's not just that. I'm helping her to also live in the present, in whatever form that may take. I'm not really sure if she fully understands the relationship I have with her, But she knows that we are her people, my father, my brother, and myself. She knows that she feels safe with us and she is loved. So there is something special about being a witness. We are all, in some ways, curators of each other's stories. We tell each other's stories, we lift each other up, and we are our memories, but perhaps we are also more than that. Maybe in the act of remembering, we become the keepers of those memories, not just for ourselves, but also for others. The process of curating memories for my mother has become a meaningful act of love. It's not about holding on to everything, but about finding meaning in what's left. It's about weaving a tapestry that honors the woman she was, the woman she is now, and the love that will always remain. So even in the face of dementia, there's a kind of beauty in the work, a beauty that transcends the fear of forgetting. Because in the act of remembering, we honor the people we love. We give them a place in our hearts that nothing, not even dementia, can take away. So as I sit with my mother, I often find myself thinking about what it means to really know somebody. It's easy to define a person by what they can recall, by their accomplishments, or by the clarity of the memories. But those things alone aren't what defines my mother. What also defines her are the relationships, the love, the laughter, the little moments of joy that we've shared over the years. And those are the things I try to bring back to her through stories or through music. All right. So now, this is one of her favorite stories to tell. It is about her late father belting out Hey Jude by the Beatles while he's in the shower. So at the part that goes, na, 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 her brother and her would run to the bathroom door just in front, stand outside to listen to her father sing, and they go, so they join in the chorus. And she tells that story so much. There really is a power in music. One of the most remarkable aspects of music for someone with dementia is the ability to tap into long-term memories. It can trigger deep emotional and memory recall, even when the cognitive abilities are impaired. So even if my mother can't remember specific events, the emotional reaction music evokes, whether happiness, nostalgia, that helps to create meaningful memories and connection as well. Oh, who's that? She would ask, watching the video. It's you, Mamre. You are the one playing. Me? Yeah, good, right? Wow, very good. I said, you used to teach piano, you know that? You're a very fierce piano teacher. And she laughs. Do you want to teach me? No, you are so good. She refers to the video and she thinks it's me playing the piano. No, Mamre, it's you. You are the one playing. Wow, beautiful. So just a fun tidbit as well. This song, Where Do I Begin? According to my mom, it's her love song with my father and her. And she actually has muscle memory for pieces that she can still play on the piano. And this is one of the few pieces that she can still play just by muscle memory. So if I put her on the piano and she sits there, this is the first song she will always play. Now, dementia has really taught me to be a lot more present. The conversations we have today, even if they are repetitions of past stories, are moments that matter, and they help her feel connected, understood, and loved. I still tell her about how I always love learning from her and gathering her wisdom. For example, I experienced loss for the first time many years ago when my aunt who lived with us passed away, and my mother had experienced loss with her parents. At that moment, I couldn't quite process grief. I didn't know what was happening, so I asked her, how do you get through something like this? And she just held my hand and she said, time will heal. So now I still remind her of the times that she imparted all these lessons to me, the times where she held my hand till I was ready to take on the world, and all the dating advice that she gave me. You are young. Don't stick with just one. You find the person that is worth your time, and make sure they are tall. So I took that. And of course, I tell her now, you taught me so much, Mamre. And I hold her hand while I'm saying this. She replies, her words scrambled, but I know from the way she holds my hand, that she feels the weight of my words. I know that time will come when my mother won't recognize the people around her or even recall the stories that we share. But I take comfort in knowing that the emotional legacy of her life will remain with me. Those feelings don't disappear even when memories fade. Memories are not just stored moments, they are etched in our hearts, and even as dementia tries to take them away, the love, the impact we have on one another remains. And so as I curate my mom's memories, I'm not just doing it for her. I'm doing it for myself, for my brother, and for my father. I'm doing it because in some small way, it helps us to hold on to the parts of her that we don't want to lose, and helps us to create new memories that we can share together in whatever way possible. As we move through life, it's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of things, to assume that memories will just be there and the connections will remain unchanged. But the truth is, time moves quickly, and life can surprise us in very unexpected ways. These moments we think that are small or fleeting often are the ones that shape us the most. So go forth and document your life, not just for nostalgia, but because it's yours, and every moment deserves to be remembered. Take those photos, write those journals, save those messages, do it for the memes. Now in closing, I want to remind all of us that our stories, our shared histories, are more than just a collection of facts. They are the foundation of who we are. These memories, they shape us. Even in the face of dementia, those emotions and connections continue to resonate. And perhaps that's the greatest gift we can give someone with memory loss. The reminder that their life, their story, still matter and always will. In the words of the Beatles, take a sad song and make it better. Thank you.